Hello, everyone. I'm Skylar Malin. My pronouns are they and them. I am the secretary of the Unitarian Universalist Mental Health Network Board and a NAMI Snow Isle volunteer. I'm here to introduce you to the NAMI FaithNet program. NAMI FaithNet strives to encourage welcoming, caring congregations, as well as to promote the vital role of spirituality in the recovery journeys of many who live with mental health conditions. In this presentation, Bridges of Hope, you'll learn about two strong bridges that have helped many people and families navigate their experiences living with mental health conditions: faith communities and NAMI. FaithNet presentations explore these three questions. What is mental health? Why are faith and spirituality important for people affected by mental health conditions? What can you do to help? If we recognize mental health conditions and the significant problems they pose for people, then we can be helpful. But many congregations don't know how to help, perhaps due to fear or lack of knowledge. So we want you to understand how NAMI can provide another bridge to strong advocacy, education, and support programs. Mental health affects everyone. Nearly 60 million Americans are affected by mental illness each year. NAMI provides unique support, encouragement, education, and advocacy that can only be provided by people with similar lived experience. NAMI is a vital community that helps others in their journey. Mental health is not only a social issue, but a public health issue. 50% of all lifetime cases of mental illness begin by age 14 and 75% by age 24. So these are conditions of youth that for many continue through their lifetime. Early identification and intervention are key, and the tragic outcomes of failing to intervene with treatment and support are dire. Suicide is now the second leading cause of death in youth age 14 to 24. So whatever we've been doing, there is a real sense that it has simply not been enough. We all must join this movement to help ourselves and one another. We must work together to save lives, to save our youth. The normal personality and behavior changes of adolescence may mimic or mask symptoms of a mental health condition. Early engagement and support are crucial to improving outcomes and increasing the promise of recovery. Many individuals and families do not recognize the early signs of unusual behavior, thoughts, or moods as a treatable health condition. So if the mental health condition goes untreated, it can sometimes sweep away the person's ability to live a healthy, everyday life. So what is mental health? First and foremost, mental health conditions are medical conditions that can disrupt a person's thinking, mood, and ability to relate to others and perform daily functions. Just as diabetes is a disorder of the pancreas, mental illness can result in diminished capacity for coping with the ordinary demands of life. Severe mental health conditions include major depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and borderline personality disorder. They can affect persons of any age, race, religion, or income. They are not the result of personal weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringing. Genetics, environment, and lifestyle all play a role in mental illness. The causes of mental illness are many, and there is still much to be learned about them. What we do know is that they are common and serious. A mental illness is a condition that affects a person's thinking, feeling, or mood. Such conditions may affect someone's ability to relate to others and function daily. Each person will have different experiences, even people with the same diagnosis. Depression and anxiety are among the most common mental health conditions. Depression is more than just feeling sad or going through a rough patch. It's a serious mental health condition that requires understanding, treatment, and a good recovery plan. Many people get better with early detection, diagnosis, and a treatment plan consisting of medication, psychotherapy, and lifestyle choices. But left untreated, depression can be devastating, both for the people who have it and for their families. Some people have only one episode in a lifetime, but for most people, depression recurs. Without treatment, episodes may last a few months to several years. People with severe depression can feel so hopeless that they become a risk for suicide. Bipolar disorder is a chronic mental illness that causes dramatic shifts in a person's mood, energy, and ability to think clearly. People with bipolar disorder have high and low moods known as mania and depression, which differ from the typical ups and downs most people experience. If left untreated, the symptoms usually get worse. However, with a strong lifestyle that includes self-management and a good treatment plan, many people live well with the condition. Schizophrenia is a severe mental illness that interferes with a person's ability to think, manage emotions, make decisions, and relate to others. It's a complex, long-term medical illness affecting about 1% of Americans. Although schizophrenia can occur at any age, the average age of onset tends to be in the late teens to early 20s for men and the late 20s to early 30s for women. It is possible to live well with schizophrenia. You can learn more about these and other mental health conditions by watching short information videos and by visiting NAMI.org. We often think the worst of mental illness because that is something all we have seen, all that we know we have witnessed, people in the worst of their struggles. The most important thing to remember about mental illness is they are common, it's no one's fault, treatment and support are essential for the promise of recovery, and people affected by mental health conditions and their families need help and hope. One of the easiest things we can do to help is to be mindful of our language and how we talk to ourselves and others about their struggles. Let's look at these two cartoons. Is this how we would speak to someone recovering from another significant health challenge? I don't think so. And yet this is how we may approach someone with a mental illness, likely because we don't understand. And how we relate to others in their health struggles with mental illness is essential. We can be more compassionate and understanding and take those first steps to pause and consider before we speak or pass judgment. I imagine we can all agree that everyone experiences wide ranges of sadness and happiness, elation and sorrow throughout their life. Mental and emotional swings are just part of being human. Mental health conditions are more than this. So how do we know when we or someone we know might be experiencing a mental health condition that may need intervention and treatment? Well, here's a partial list. Excessive worry or fear, excessively sad, confused and problems concentrating, extreme moods, irritability or anger, avoiding social activities, difficulty perceiving reality, substance abuse, physical ailments without a cause, or thinking about suicide. Though we shouldn't try to diagnose anyone, knowing some red flags to watch for is helpful. Learning more about the warning signs and what to do if you are concerned is also essential. I encourage you to learn more by visiting NAMI.org. So despite all you have heard so far, the best news that I have to share is that there is hope for people living with mental health conditions. Every year, people overcome their challenges and can resume their life path, work, school, and relationships. Everyone responds differently to various treatment options, but for about 75% of people with depression, schizophrenia, anxiety conditions, and bipolar disorder, treatment works to help alleviate symptoms and encourage wellness. Treatment is very personal and choices are many, including primary health care for integrated care and a referral for a good evaluation, talk therapy, medication, supportive services, peer support, education about the condition, and of course, healthy eating, lifestyle, and other health interventions too. And in this, faith communities have a role to play. Mental illness can, for some, cause feelings of spiritual isolation and estrangement. Some people and their families caught in the turmoil often surrounding mental illness can feel lonely. Community can help. For many, a spiritual community is a lifeline. Just as in the case of other severe health conditions, having a mental health condition may pose challenges to our faith. Amid this turmoil, we may wonder where we belong. For some, a mental illness can test our faith and may profoundly impact our spiritual journeys. A deeper level of spiritual support and care is often overlooked after a person's basic physical and medical needs are met. The gift of presence requires that we avoid doing what they can for themselves, or giving advice, or pushing our agenda. As we listen and share the journey, we ask honest, open questions to help them share their goals and what they need and want. Because of the fear and stereotypes often associated with the stigma of mental illness, people and their families caught in the turmoil are usually the loneliest and most estranged members of our community. Our faith community is in a unique position to help. Let's look at some factors that give faith communities the edge and the opportunity to be supportive and helpful. Many turn to their faith communities in a healing crisis. Churches, temples, and other faith communities are often more noticeable and accessible. Faith communities are seen by most as a safe space. The good news is that NAMI is here to help. As part of our effort to help build a mental health movement, we have launched a campaign called Stigma Free. We encourage people to take the pledge and be part of the change to hope. To learn about mental health, see the person, not the condition, and to take action. Learn more about Stigma Free and how easy it is to stand with us by visiting NAMI.org/Stigma Free, which includes resources that can be helpful in your faith community efforts. In addition to pledging to be stigma-free, we may recognize that there is, in fact, an intersection between the movement and our mission as a faith community. Congregations provide a place to belong and experience hope. We can help others on their journeys by learning more about mental illness. We can be someone who will walk across the bridge to be a friend for individuals who may be struggling and for their families too. In addition to being mindful of our judgments and not saying things that may be hurtful, we can use person-first language like this. Instead of saying she is bipolar or he is schizophrenic, We can say, she has bipolar disorder, or he lives with schizophrenia. Putting the person first helps them feel like a person, not their illness. Instead of saying the mentally ill, we can say struggles with mental illness or struggles with their mental health condition. This way, the person senses your belief that they can get better and are not limited. And instead of saying commit suicide, we say die by suicide. Commit is a word most often used when referencing crime or sin, and losing a struggle with mental illness is in fact not a crime. And for the families and loved ones who survived this tragic loss, it acknowledges this loss respectfully and lets them know they have experienced a death and deserve comfort and understanding. Avoiding labels is easier than it may seem. Just think about it and pay attention. Words like crazy, loony, suffer, not normal, and other judgments can be hurtful. And what we want is to be helpful and caring. Another easy step is to reach out to the individual or family. Ease into the conversation gradually. It may be that the person is not ready to talk, and that's okay. Everyone is different and their timing is different too. Greeting them and extending a gentle kindness can go a long way. Offer your support. Ask, how can I help? Offer to connect them to helpful resources. In addition to reaching out, we can look at how to take the first steps to ensure our faith community is welcoming. Remember, people with a mental illness are people first. Check in with them or their family. Ask what would be helpful. Sit with them at church services and events. Talk with them and show you care. Invite them to join your small group. Plan a home visit. Learn about mental health. Convey acceptance and compassion. I have shared some easy, simple things for us to think about. Some other faith communities have also embraced this effort. One example is the Saddleback Church in Orange County, California. I will share some highlights of their suggestions and excellent resources for faith communities. It's divided into 3 stages for those who want to crawl and those who wish to walk, and finally more intensive suggestions for those who may decide to run. Crawling steps do not require money, training, resources, or paid staff. They are beginner steps, and all organizations can implement them. Here are some suggestions for crawling. Talk about mental health in sermons. Survey the congregation. Provide a list of local mental health resources. Educate and raise awareness. Have guest speakers. Provide space for support groups. Provide encouraging connections. Provide meals. Befriend someone with a mental health condition. And provide encouraging connections. You can learn more at hopeformentalhealth.com. This link and other resources are on NAMI FaithNet's page, nami.org/FaithNet. Walk steps require some training and minimal financial support. They need greater commitment, but most organizations can take them. For faith communities deciding to step up their game, here are some suggestions for walking. Have mental health speakers, start a mental health ministry, provide adult and youth support groups, create care teams for basic needs, train companion volunteers, provide volunteer opportunities, facilitate connection between people with similar experiences, gather books and resources, and have educational meetings. The third stage of suggestions, running, would require a higher level of commitment, more extensive training, financial support, and trained staff. Some examples of things you can do if you choose to run are develop a lay counseling resource or ministry, provide support groups for children, provide a safe space or clubhouse, provide advanced training for staff, create care teams for the mental health needs, partner with mental health organizations to triage mental health services, hold an event or conference, build a team of companion volunteers, and be a model and source of information. Again, you can find links to these suggestions and more by visiting the NAMI website. So now that we've talked about mental health conditions and how to help people and families affected by mental illness, I want to tell you more about NAMI, who we are, what we do, and what is available in our community through NAMI affiliates. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the largest grassroots mental health organization in the country. Founded in 1979, we are a national organization, a state organization, and nearly 900 local NAMI affiliates in communities nationwide. NAMI's mission is to improve the lives of those affected by mental illness. We educate. Offered in thousands of communities nationwide through NAMI affiliates, our education programs ensure hundreds of thousands of families, individuals, and educators get the support and information they need. We advocate. NAMI shapes national public policy for people living with mental health conditions and their families and provides grassroots volunteers with the tools and resources necessary to ensure that people have access to life-saving care. We listen. We provide support through our no-cost, peer-led support groups, which trained volunteer facilitators offer with a unique perspective that only those with lived experience as individuals or families can offer. Our national toll-free helpline allows us to respond personally to more than 50,000 requests each year, and our online discussion groups and social media communities are vital safe spaces for thousands more. We lead. Public awareness events and activities, including May Mental Health Month, Mental Illness Awareness Week, and NAMI Walks, successfully combat stigma and encourage understanding. I am a member of the NAMI affiliate Snohomish and Island Counties, NAMI Snow Isle. You have the opportunity to help raise awareness that mental illness is not the result of personal weakness or lack of character. Knowing the facts about mental health conditions can help inspire others and make harmful, stigmatizing stereotypes a thing of the past. We must learn, see, and act to build the mental health movement. We can, as a faith community, raise awareness to help ensure we are a welcoming, caring congregation for those in need. We can stand together and take steps, small or large. We all must be reminded of something First Lady Rosalind Carter said. You can make a difference. People with mental health challenges are our neighbors. They are members of our congregations, members of our families. They are everywhere in this country. If we ignore their cries for help, we will continue to participate in the anguish from which those cries for help come. A problem of this magnitude will not go away on its own. Because it will not just go away, and because of our spiritual commitments, we are compelled to take action. NAMI FaithNet is not a program, but but a clearinghouse of information and a grassroots initiative to help encourage supportive faith communities and promote faith as a component of recovery for those who choose it. So we may ask ourselves now, what is your community already doing to provide a bridge of hope for people touched by mental illness? What would you like to see it do? We don't have to have this figured out alone. In addition to ideas, tools, and information, as well as other groups' resource links right at your fingertips, there are blogs, essays, and articles on how other congregations have dealt with challenging issues. I encourage you to check it out. You can request a FaithNet presentation from your local NAMI affiliate. To find the affiliate closest to you, go to nami.org/local. Thank you.